Scalar energy, a completely new world is possible. The greatest scientific discovery in the history of the world has happened over the last few decades, and it has gone largely unnoticed because of the great secrecy with which it has been held by all who know of it. It is the discovery of a completely new kind of electromagnetic waves which exist only in the vacuum of empty space, the empty space between the atoms of our bodies as well as the empty space we see in sky at night. All of empty space. These waves constitute a kind of ocean of infinite energy, and it has now been discovered that this abundant energy can be coaxed to pour into our three-dimensional world from their four-dimensional realm, to be used to do work, provide electricity, power all transport, and even heal the body of almost all disease. This is the new world of scalar electromagnetics, the zero-point energy, the energy of the absolute nothingness which existed before the world began. To understand the incredible implications of this phenomenal discovery is to realize that a completely new world is possible for mankind, a future never before dreamed possible. It could be a world of abundance everywhere, of endless free energy, pollution-free, and a world of cheap universal healthcare, in which actual healing takes place instead of mere treatment, and for most ailments, without the load of chemicals of the pharmaceutical industry. It could be a world in which a huge portion of this world's massive suffering could be relieved. These new waves of energy are called longitudinal electromagnetism, to distinguish them from transverse the kind we are familiar with in our daily life, which power our cell phones and pagers, television and radio broadcasts, microwave ovens, and so on. Rather than modulating in three dimensions, they are modulating in the direction they are going, accordion-like, that is, along the axis of time, the fourth dimension. What this means is still a mystery to me, but one important facet of this new discovery in the new field of scalar electromagnetics is the discovery that time itself is compressed energy, compressed by the factor of the speed of light squared. Does that sound familiar? It brings to mind Einstein's energy equal mass times speed of light squared. Matter itself is also compressed energy, and compressed by the same factor as scalar energy is compressed in time. So the discovery of scalar electromagnetics is that we can tap and use the immense energy existing in the ocean of time. This amazing discovery is announced and described by foremost U.S. scalar scientist Tom Bearden on his website sheniari.org. I spent about 6 months poring over the papers and briefings there, despite being a layman and not understanding the high physics and mathematical formulas of it. But I could glean enough to know that, if Bearden is correct, this discovery of the zero-point energy was in fact and without doubt the greatest discovery in human history. This discovery will completely change our understanding of physical and non-physical reality. And it could lead to heaven, and it could lead to hell, because the incredible powers of these new longitudinal waves can, and already have been harnessed in the creation of the most stupendous weapons the world has ever seen. The least of them, the longitudinal interferometer or Tesla howitzer, could bring down, in a single shot, a huge building the size, say, the World Trade Center towers, and is being used daily to engineer and change the weather over North America. The Russians are probably the most advanced in the development of these kinds of weapons, but the Chinese are catching up as well. Once you have the know-how, building a Tesla howitzer is relatively cheap. The key is in the know-how, knowing how to manipulate, modulate and intersect the longitudinal waves at a distance. You can be anywhere in the world and deliver a shot to anywhere else in the world with a Tesla howitzer. All nations now developing these new electromagnetic weapons do so in great secrecy, so mankind at large remains unaware of the danger into which it has fallen. It should be noted that this discovery of the longitudinal waves of the vacuum of space is not so new as it might seem. Nikola Tesla is generally considered the father of scalar electromagnetics. Tesla's name for this energy, also called scalar energy or zero-point energy, was radiant energy. Tesla worked in the first half of the last century and was clearly a genius of the highest order. Unfortunately, Tesla was quite paranoid about others stealing his inventions and so, with his photographic memory, kept most of what he knew in his head rather than write it down. But he made a free energy device called the Tesla turbine, and even converted an automobile to run on the radiant energy. At Tesla's death, the government swooped in immediately and confiscated what writings and papers there were. So, many of Tesla's secrets were lost to humanity, and in fact, repressed by the powers that be. Even at that early period there were powerful interests working to keep these discoveries secret. The last thing the oil companies or the energy cartels want is free energy for everybody. That would mean their own demise. Through scalar electromagnetics it will become possible to engineer physical reality directly, even to engineering at the molecular level, creating new impossible molecules and even transmuting elements. It will be possible to make radioactive waste non-radioactive. This new science will unlock the secret of gravity, and thereby the secret of anti-gravity, allowing us to manufacture our own UFOs. It will allow the cure of cancer and AIDS. I guess if I had to name the 4 most important implications of the discovery of longitudinal waves, it would be these. 1. The solutions to the energy crisis and the oil problem are in hand. These oil wars are completely unnecessary. There is endless energy available freely from the domain of time. 2. Unbelievably powerful weapons are not only possible, but are already operating in several nations. The many powers of these weapons are unprecedented and mind-boggling. 3. The cure of diseases such as cancer and AIDS, in fact nearly any disease, has become possible within a few years of sufficient funding. Everyone can be made healthy and stay healthy. 4. Mind control on a mass scale has now become possible, and the machines to do it are already in place in certain nations. It has become possible to mentally enslave whole populations with the twist of a few dials. Yes, that's right, the new waves are in fact the kind of waves the mind itself uses in its operations, and so there will be implications in the realm of both mind control and education. Thoughts/feelings can be induced, even from afar, in target subjects, portending possible terrible uses in mentally enslaving people, or putting them into a happy trance, or making them apathetic, or even inducing sheer fear and panic. On the other hand, it will be possible to learn about any subject by merely downloading the knowledge directly into the human mind. A person might become a PhD in a matter of months rather than years. Other more offbeat possibilities would be drug machines which could induce a variety of euphoric happy states, a wide spectrum of consciousness-altering effects which allow all drug users to get off their drugs. Why use drugs when those effects are available electromagnetically at the turn of a dial? Once the mind grasps the fundamental discovery, it just runs wild thinking of the vast spectrum of things which will become possible. But for mankind at its present juncture, 2 aspects of longitudinal waves are supremely important: the matter of free energy, and the terrible scalar weapons. If the government continues to suppress and hold back the secret of free energy from the vacuum, then the world continues to be locked into this direction we are going of the oil wars, as various powers seek to secure all the remaining oil supplies for themselves. In reality, the cost of the current war could easily have covered the research and development which would make the whole planet free of the need to burn oil. We are now spending $4 billion a month in Iraq to take over their oil to the benefit of corporate America. The real benefit to the people of America would be to have a Manhattan-style project to develop scalar energy on a large scale and begin the changeover to a new oil-free era of world prosperity. But this will wipe out the oil companies, and they are demons that will not go down without a fight. The Disclosure Project of Dr. Stephen Greer seeks, in part, to force disclosure by the secret agencies of the government to disclose this technology, which it holds highly classified, for the betterment of humanity. Witnesses, many of them military or ex-military, have given testimony that such technology exists and is being held secret from the people. This may classify as one of the greatest crimes against humanity, and history may very well judge it to be so. While keeping this technology of free energy secret, they are secretly developing it into the worst weapons the world has ever known. It is epic evil worthy of Dr. Faust. The secret testing of these scalar devices may also explain a lot of mysteries going on, like the crop circles and the glowing orbs of lights in the sky increasing seen throughout the world. According to Tom Bearden, it was a scalar accident that caused the Chernobyl disaster. He also points out quite a number of sightings by trained pilots of cold explosions at sea which send up huge mushroom clouds of water vapor miles into the sky, or other sighting of giant glowing hemispheric electromagnetic domes, also called Tesla shields. So once again, as at the dawn of the nuclear age, mankind is faced with a discovery that could lead to its own destruction, in the hands of evil or stupid men, or could lead to an incredibly better world, free of fossil fuels, filled with healthy people, and with plenty enough of everything to go around. For more information on scalar electromagnetics, see http://www.shenieri.org. For a longer Bearden for Beginners article, see this, http://216.247.92.101/pub/bearden/scalar_wars.htm.